All right, we are live. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to this very special episode of Beer Chasers. I'm Preston. Today, we're joined by very special guest, Brian Moore of The Burnt Brian Show. Brian, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, man? Going great over here.
So tell everybody at home kind of a little of the story, how we met, kind of a little bit about your channel, a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, so basically, we met through some of the various social networking sites, the beer reviewer groups that are out there, and I noticed that you were a local Floridian, so it's always nice to be able to have the chance to interact with somebody that's local here in my home state. And basically, my channel is just all about all kinds of different things, a little bit of variety, but it's all centered around food and beer and everything that revolves around the culinary world. So it's really awesome to get a chance to interact with you and do a new collab between the two of us.
Yeah, I'm super excited. We've been talking about doing this for a while, just trying to get the schedules to line up. So not only do you do beer reviews, you said you also do food, but you do like hot sauces and spices and chilies as well, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, that's kind of where I started out at. I love hot sauces. I love spicy food. I've eaten the world's hottest pepper and lived to talk about it. And so basically that's kind of what led me into that. And then since then I've been exploring and kind of trying to critique my channel and change it to add some other varieties that I really enjoy as well. But
yeah, so you have some shows where you do like new food reviews, like bites. You do Talk Can Tuesdays. You do some personal stuff. So you got a little bit of everything for everybody.
definitely, there's something for everybody on my channel.
All right, so we talked about being local and from Florida. So the beers we're going to review today are from Orange Blossom Brewing. They're a company out of Orlando, kind of a weird story. I think they started in South Carolina, then I think they're in Orlando. They do some brewing out of Brew Hub, so they're kind of all around. But today we have two honey beers. Brian, tell them what we got.
Okay, so basically we've got the original Orange Blossom Pilsner, which is 5.5% per volume, just a standard honey Pilsner. It's supposed to be really good. And then I've also had the it's the I'm not sure how to describe it, but it's the squared version of that, which is double the percentage. So you've got 11% per volume, and it's supposed to be a much stronger beer. So looking forward to trying both of these.
Yeah, they say it's the same beer with half the water. I'm not sure I buy all that. I'm sure there's a little bit of extra magic in there, but let's go ahead and crack the first one open. Brian, I think you've got the better view. Your camera's a little more modern than mine. Mine's like one step above a potato. So if you don't mind, go ahead and do the pour for us. Show the fine folks at home what we're working with.
Sure, of course. We've got the can here. This is the Orange Blossom. Let's go ahead and pop the top and take a look at the pour here. And it is a rather transparent beer for the most part, not too cloudy, a little bit though, but rather filtered beer. Nice carbonation to it.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll show it up to the potato here. Not quite as pretty as his, but we'll go ahead and go through the classic beer chaser rating here. So we're going to look at the appearance on this. Like you mentioned, it is very clear, very crisp, and that is, I mean, 1 or 2 SRM on the scale, if anything. What do you think about that?
Oh, most definitely. Very, very clear. It's on the low end of the scale.
Yeah. So for the appearance on the rating of 1 to 5, I'll go ahead and give it a 4. I mean, it looks nice, very clear, very crisp, looks very refreshing. I'm ready to drink it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Definitely a 4 out of 5 on that, on the appearance.
All right, let's go ahead and go for the smell. Switch over to you here. You pick up a little bit of the honey, but it's not as pungent as you would expect for it kind of being a honey Pilsner. It does smell nice, though. Very, very crisp, very clean smelling.
Yeah, most definitely. It is a very crisp, clean smelling, and just that light, very light touch of honey comes through in the aroma. Really nice.
Yeah, and that's not totally surprising just because of brewing with honey. I know you've done a little bit of home brewing. Some of our viewers out there do home brewing. Honey is a very fermentable sugar, and the yeast eat the crap out of it, so it doesn't leave much behind. So it's not surprising that there's a ton of smell, but I'd still like a little more. So for the smell, I'll give it a 3.5. I think it's a little better than average, but just a smidge over.
I'm right there with you. I guess I would probably give it more of a 3. It's just a good mid-level smell. Like I don't know. I kind of wish there was just a little bit more of a honey touch to it, but definitely still pretty nice, pretty average.
I can see that. Well, the best part, the taste. Cheers, my friend.
Salud.
Cheers, everybody at home. Yeah, that's nice. It's definitely Pilsnery. It kind of has like a nuttiness, and then you kind of get some of the sweetness kind of up in the follow-through, kind of at the end of the beer.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, it is a nice slight sweetness. Again, a slightly watery kind of taste. I mean, it's very. I don't mean to say watery. I guess it's just not a very thick mouthfeel. It's kind of a very, easy drinking, smooth kind of flowing beer.
I might offend some people by what I'm about to say. Is it almost has a Budweisery kind of taste, like that very classic American kind of rice pilsnery kind of beer flavor to it, with some of that honey added.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a great point. I mean, it is just like your classic American Budweiser Pilsner with just a slight honey tinge to it. So,
yeah, and that's exactly what you'd expect from this beer. So on the taste, I'll give it a 3.5. I think it tastes nice. I think it tastes nicer than some pilsners I've had, and maybe that's just the honey. I think it's a decent pilsner base, and the honey kind of kicks it just over that kind of what I expect category. What do you think?
I think I'll go with you on the 3.5. I think that it is, like you said, it's just it is a nice touch above the standard Pilsner beer with that little honey hint that comes through. But again, about an average kind of flavor, really decent.
Okay, so we touched a little bit on the mouthfeel already, so it's kind of thin and watered down. But again, being a pilsner, being a light kind of 5% beer, I kind of expect that, and I think it's kind of nice. I think it's carbonated pretty well.
Oh, absolutely. For a pilsner, it is a definitely nice carbonated. I mean, I'm still seeing bubbles floating up. It's a very nice, smooth, easy drinking beer. Really tasty for a pilsner.
Yeah, it's light, crisp, refreshing, perfectly carbonated. So for the mouthfeel, I'll give it a 4. I think it's pretty nice.
I'm right there with you on that with a 4. Absolutely perfect.
So overall, where is that going to put Orange Blossom Pilsner for us? We had a couple 3.5s, a 4. So I think a 3.5 is probably fair.
Yep, I would definitely go with a 3.5. Absolutely. I was torn between 3.5, 3.75. It's right in that range. It's definitely a good, smooth, middle-level beer.
Yeah, I love this beer. For me, this will be kind of your starter beer. Like, generally I try to start light and kind of end up heavy and dark. So this is definitely one that you could kind of start the night with, kind of not get too trashed too quickly right off the get-go.
Absolutely. And you don't want to start too trashed.
Yeah, well, sometimes. So some stuff I kind of blaze over. Again, we're doing this kind of live, so I'm kind of out of my element a little bit. Forgot to go over some of the statistics of the beer here. So OBP comes in at 5.5%, as an IBU of 7, Rate Beer rates it at 80, and Beer Advocate rates it at 69. So not too shabby scores. Again, real light IBU, light ABV, pretty damn good.
Yeah, all around pretty decent beer.
All right, so I guess if you want, we can go ahead and move on to the OBP squared. Brian, show them what we got.
All right, so this is the OBP squared. Let's go ahead and pop the top and see what we've got on the pour. It definitely right away appears slightly darker than the previous one, but not much. Still a very clear, slight copper-colored beer with a nice little bit of a head to it.
Yeah, it's brilliantly clear. I mean, it looks beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so some statistics on this one, so don't forget. So OBP2 comes in at 11%, so it's literally double of the last one. The IBUs are 10, so slightly more bitter. Rate Beer gives this one a 71. Beer Advocate rates this one at 80. So a little higher rated, a little higher hopped, a lot more ABV. Mm-hmm. So the story with this is it's supposedly just half the water. It's supposed to be the same beer as the one we just drank, using half the water. I don't buy it, but as a brewer, I think it's feasible. I think you could do that, but I guess we'll see. Let's go for the rating here. Look at the appearance.
Yeah,
as you mentioned, kind of golden, kind of real clear, nicely carbonated. Looks nice. I think go 3.5 again. Looks appetizing. What do you think?
I'll go up from my 3 on the previous to 3.5. It does have a slightly darker, more Pilsner-like color. It looks beautiful. Nice beer.
Awesome. So I guess the next part we'll go for the smell. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a little more sweet and honey smelling, but it's still not pungent, kicking in the face like you would kind of. I think the end user who might not be familiar with brewing would expect when they see honey beer. They're expecting to smell a huge hit of honey, and I'm not really getting that. What about you?
No, not at all. Definitely still a very mild honey kick I'm picking up like a slightly more alcohol flavor or alcohol aroma coming through than the previous one. Just a little hint along with the orange.
Yeah, I think you can smell the heat for sure.
All right.
All right. So for the smell, I think I'd rate that, a 3. I think it's standard. The Pilsner, I'd expect it to be light. This one being twice as much. It should be twice as sweet. I would expect twice as much honey kind of smell, and I'm not really getting that. So I would go with 3. I think I'm tiptoeing up to the 3 line. Really, it's like almost a 2.75.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
No, I would agree with you definitely. I think that it's definitely what I'm picking up mostly is more of an alcohol note than I am this honey, and I would expect a little bit more of a honey smell to be coming through if it's just half the water content. But I mean, still, I'd go with you on a 3. I think that's about a perfect scale for the aroma.
Yeah, I think it tiptoes up to 3. I mean, it's got one tiptoe over it. It's almost a 2.75, a little lackluster what I expect, but I think it's right there. Fair enough to call it a 3.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
well, the best part, the taste. Cheers, my friend.
Salud.
Cheers to you. It's definitely bigger in flavor on this one. Oh.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Really, really big hit of sweetness. You're definitely getting that kind of honey impression. A little more boozy. You can definitely taste 11% in this one.
Yes, you can.
I think we've lost the Pilsner aspect for sure. I mean, it's there, it's light and crisp, but outside of that, it is, it's a big beer.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. You're losing, again, like you said, some of that crispness and smoothness of the Pilsner, and you're getting this much stronger, kind of thicker honey taste coming through. It is much nicer as far as the previous one goes. And again, the higher alcohol content is definitely coming through.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this one. I've had both. I've had the OBP squared a lot more than the regular one because it's marginally more expensive and you get way more alcohol. So for me, that's always win-win.
Absolutely.
So I think on the taste for this one, I will rate it, a 3.5. It's nothing that's blowing me away. I think it's good for the honey beer kind of category. Some of the other ones I've had. I love the fact that it's kicked up a notch with the honey flavor, the sweetness. Again, it's a little boozy, but it tastes pretty damn good. I like it.
No, I think I'm right there with you. Maybe I would go again to the 3.75 just because I haven't had too many honey beers like this. And so to me, the taste is really nice. I enjoy honey more than anything else when I'm making coffee and different things in the morning. I always use honey instead of sugar and different things. So really that flavor is really nice to come through in a beer. And it's much more noticeable in this one than the previous one. Very nice.
Yeah, so we'll move on to the mouthfeel. It's a little more thick-bodied. Again, using half the water, you'd expect that. I wouldn't call it medium body, but it's definitely tiptoeing up to that line. It sticks around almost a little too much. It is a little kind of cloying, a little too sweet. It lingers a little too long. Yeah. And it doesn't help that the heat and the hotness from the beer is also kind of with it. What do you think?
No, I agree. It's definitely kind of, I don't know. Let me take another sip here. Definitely that mouthfeel is definitely a slightly thicker taste. It's kind of not something as smooth and relaxing as the previous one was, but still definitely I'm actually really enjoying this one opposed to the previous.
Yeah. It's warming me up, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I think for the mouthfeel, I'll be fair, I'll give it a 3. I don't think it's below expectation, but again, it is kind of boozy. It is a little thick and cloying, so it's almost a turnoff to where I would give it less than 3, but still right on the line there.
Well, if 3 is somewhat in the middle of the line, I'll have to agree with you on that one because to me, it is it's not something that's overly drying or anything like that or super thick. It's got a nice medium feel to it. So I'll agree with 3, definitely.
Cool. So that leaves with overall, where do you want to put OBP squared? I think it's going to be in that 3.5 kind of range. I think it beats expectations for the category. I don't think it's blowing anything away and just having this abundance of flavors and characteristics and complexity to it that I would rate it super high, but definitely beats expectation. I like the OBP squared definitely better than the OBP single.
No, I'm right there with you on that one. I think the OB squared is definitely a little step up from the previous one, and of course with the alcohol content, you can't go wrong because it really doesn't taste like 11% alcohol to me. It's very smooth, rather easy drinking beer with that touch of honey that comes through. So I think I would give this one the same, maybe a touch higher again with 3.75, right about that.
Okay. So yeah, I guess that's going to wrap up the review of those 2 beers. The good thing for us, these beers are pretty available. I'm not sure in your area. So you're in the Gainesville area, correct?
Right.
Are you able to find both these up from where you're at, or?
No, the only one I can find here is the standard, the original Pilsner. I haven't been able to find the squared version here. I found one or two others from this brewing company, but I have not found the squared one here. So
Yeah, I believe they have an IPA, just like everybody has an IPA these days, and I think they do
right,
have a couple others, but these are definitely like their two, flagship beers.
right, right.
Awesome. Well, in closing, is there anything you want to tell the Beer Chaser audience? I appreciate you helping out. Talk a little more about your channel. Where can we find you?
Well, no, I just want to tell the Beer Chaser audience that you guys are great. You should definitely support this guy. Preston does a lot of amazing videos, and I really enjoy watching his content. He's very thorough and understands what he's talking about when it comes to beers. And as far as my channel goes, I'm just kind of a relaxed guy that enjoys doing what I do, and I'm not an expert by any means, and I'm slowly learning, like a lot of people, as we go through this craft beer movement that's been exploding over the U.S. over the last several years. It's nice to be able to have this flavor profile to be able to change and learn and go through and become better beer connoisseurs as we go. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I started only 5 or 6 years ago drinking beer. I was a rum and Coke guy for the longest time. Beer was like, ew, yucky. I could plug my nose and get through a Rolling Rock, but now it's amazing to see 5 years later how the palate's adapted and changed. And even beers I liked 2 years ago, big Belgian quads were my absolute favorites. And today I almost can't drink them. There's just something, they almost make me gag sometimes. A year or two ago, I hated stouts. Now it's one of my favorite beers. So it's really crazy just how over time, your palate adapts and changes, and, you just expect different things. And it's really cool. I love the hobby.
No, I'm right there with you when it comes to a lot of different beers, especially stouts in particular. That was one that it took me a while to kind of grow and adapt to, and I've come to really love the coffee and chocolate flavors and all of those great toasted malt flavors you get from the stouts and the porters. And so now I've kind of been experimenting more with the Belgian style beers, and like you mentioned, the quadruples and the triples. They're sometimes a little bit much for certain people, but as the more I drink them, I'm kind of really become a fan of them.
Awesome. So I know you're an IPA guy. What is your favorite IPA out there?
Ooh, that's tough for me, but I probably will have to go with Cigar City Brewing's High Lie. I absolutely love their High Lie. It's one of my all-time favorite IPAs. Between that one, Big Nose IPA from Swamphead Brewery, those are kind of in a close competition. But
awesome. Well, once again, thank you very much for helping out. Everybody go check out the Burnt Brian Show, Burnt Brian on YouTube. You should be able to find them. I don't think there's too many of you out there.
Nope, I don't think so.
Awesome. Well, until next time, I'm Preston. That was Brian. We're the Beer Chasers. We'll see you later.
Salud.